Hi sisters! Just kidding. It's Anya, otherwise known as Pink Sweets here on YouTube. And by the opening, you can probably tell what palette we're going to be using today. Today we're going to be using the MorpheXJames Charles Unleash Inner Artistry palette. This palette is huge, as you can see, and we'll get into that in just a second. I just want to let you guys know this is going to be a lengthy video because I want to talk about the palette a little bit first. But let me back it up again and say this is a collab with my friend Allyson Krauss, and we are both creating a look with this palette today. This is my first time trying it, so this is a first impressions, but I wanted to let you guys know a few things. So let's open the palette together, and on the back it has a little message from James right here. I'm very proud of him. I haven't even swatched any of the shades at all yet. Get rid of his face for a second. This is what the palette looks like on the inside. And on the back it just has Artistry palette and some fingerprints already because, you know. And then it has one of these, which I'm going to keep so I can hopefully tell you what the shades are. And this is the Gorgeous Stunning palette. Or if you hold it this way, this is the Gorgeous Stunning palette. So please excuse my nails, they're not done, and I have makeup on them already per usual. So the palette is absolutely stunning. It is essentially a rainbow palette, but it has a lot of neutrals in it as well. It has a black, it has a white, it has this middle row, which is the shades they think that you'll use the most. It has, you know, your colorful shades down here, your neutrals up here. I'm not going to do any swatches. I personally don't believe in swatches because I think that something can swatch terribly and look great on the eyes. I think something can look horrible on the eyes but have swatched greatly. So, but if you want to see swatches and a really cute, funny video, my friend Anya, the other Anya, she did do a video where she did like a swatch party. Basically, she didn't swatch every shade in the palette. She was just going through, looking at the shades she wanted to, and it was literally the cutest video ever. So I'll link that in the cards above. And she does show some really good swatches of some of the eyeshadows in here, some of the mattes, some of the shimmers. So this palette has had a lot of drama around it already, which I just think is sad because it's something that he created with Morphe, something that James Charles is very proud of. And he should be, because I think it's amazing. Something to note is that this palette was $39 and it has 39 eyeshadows in it. So essentially you're paying $1 per eyeshadow. When I go to the dollar store, I don't expect Natasha Denona quality. So that's something to keep in mind. I mean, I have gotten really nice eyeshadows at the dollar store, but I've also gotten eyeshadows that I was like, from the dollar store. I'm in no way, shape, or form saying this is dollar store quality eyeshadow. But I'm just saying I think sometimes certain palettes are judged a little bit too harshly, especially when they are a really affordable price. So he did also have a brush set that came in this set, or in this collection, and it's $149. I did not buy it because, as you guys know, I've gotten 2 Jaclyn Hill sets fairly recently. I actually have this one here because we're getting ready to leave for our trip in a few minutes after I create this look. This is going to be my look that I wear to Thanksgiving dinner, so that'll be fun. And I've also got my Jeffree Star makeup bag over here that I'm going to be working out of. So if I'm reaching for stuff, that's why, because I've already packed up the makeup that I'm bringing with me, which is the makeup that I use the most. But the drama that mainly has been surrounding this palette is that some people find that some of the shades are patchy. Some people think they're perfectly wonderful to work with. I said in my video yesterday, I think that different formulas work for different people. I think that people have different blending techniques. I think that, you know, I don't think that anyone who says it's good is lying. I don't think anyone who says it's bad is lying. I just think it's a matter of opinion. And I'm never going to trash a product that somebody worked really hard on my channel. That's just not something I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you why it works for me, why it doesn't work for me, and who I think it might work better for, or what technique might work better with it. So there's also been some questions about some of the formulations in this palette, because this palette is labeled as a pressed pigment palette. The reason why is because a lot of the shades, especially this one down here, the pink, the red, a lot of those shades are pressed pigments, and that means that they are not FDA approved eye safe. The Electric palette by Urban Decay is also a pressed pigment palette, also not labeled as eye safe. You can either make a red or pink eyeshadow with carmine, which means that it's not vegan and it's not cruelty free, or you can use red dyes in your eyeshadows, and these do have red dyes in them. So the only reason that it's not FDA eye safe approved is because it can stain your eyelids, and anything that stains your skin is not considered eye safe. Doesn't mean that you're going to get a horrible reaction. It doesn't mean you're going to go blind or anything like that. It just means that it will stain. I personally have never used a red or a pink eyeshadow that didn't stain my eyelids. You guys have seen me come on camera many times with my eyelids stained, and I've said, I did a look yesterday, it stained my eyelids, so I'm going to use something thicker to cover it up today for the next look. I don't personally have a problem with it, but I wanted you guys to know so that if you do have a problem with it, or if you do have sensitive eyes, it might be something to look out for. I'm going to leave a video link down below. Jen Luvs Reviews, she did a full in-depth thing about all of it, and about, you know, why it's eye safe, why it's not eye safe, and all of that information. I think it's a very helpful video. So, and she does a lot of research for her videos. So I'm going to leave that down below. There are also a few shades that James Charles himself, sorry, I'm talking really fast, that James Charles himself said were a bit more tricky to work with, such as Escape Room, which is the dark purple down here, right here, and Brother, which is this one right here. He said they're best used packed on instead of blended out. I think that this palette is definitely going to be more suitable for people that pack on their eyeshadow and do less blending, like me. And also, they said that it was best used with a MAC paint pot. This is in soft ochre. This is the only issue that I have, is that I feel like if you're going to use an eyeshadow, you should be able to use it with whatever you want, whatever kind of base you want. So I'm going to put what I would normally put on my eyes on one side, and I'm going to put the MAC paint pot on the other, so I can see if I have a better result with the primer that he suggested that I use. I think that is all the information that I'm going to give, but again, if you want to see more information, I will have Jen Luvs Reviews, I will have her video linked down below, so you can go and watch that. I just wanted you to know before you buy it, if that's something that you have an issue with, if you have an issue with, you know, it's staining your eyelids or something like that, then, you know, I just wanted you guys to know. So, and I always want to be open and honest with everything that I do and everything that I use. I don't personally have an issue. Sorry, I'm trying to open it and set it down over here, and it's not wanting to open. There we go. And I'm going to set this on the lid. I am eventually going to tape it in there because I want to know what the shades are called, but it's a little bit difficult when they're not, you know, put on the palette, which I don't understand why they didn't do that, because they did that with the Vault collection, but for some reason they didn't do that with the Jaclyn Hill palette or any of their other palettes, so I just don't know. All right, so I'll put the MAC paint pot on this side, and then I'll put a concealer on the other side. So my right side will have the MAC paint pot, and where is my concealer? This could be an issue. I'll just use this one. I will use the Maybelline Age Rewind because I've used that many times as an eyeshadow base. So we will use both of those. My hands are so dry. It is so cold here, you guys. So we were going to leave tomorrow, and I live about 15 minutes outside of DC, and everything was gridlocked. Give me 1 second. There's somebody at the door. All right, sorry about that. So I live about 15 minutes outside of DC, And literally everything was gridlocked yesterday, so there was no going anywhere. So that was fun. So we decided to go ahead and leave today. So I have no clue what I want to do, but I think I'm going to be wearing a sweater that is black that has Santa riding a unicorn on it. Because Thanksgiving and the day after, for me, Christmas starts. So I think I'm going to do a blue and green look, because why not? I love those colors on my eyes. So I'm going to go in with, oh, this is going to be so much fun to figure out the shade names. Playground. Playground is the like turquoise shade, and I'm just going to use this Morphe M332, and I'm just going to pack it into the crease. So yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys, you know, some advice, some information. I know some of the new NYX eyeshadow palettes, the grind ones, or one of them's called grind maybe, I don't know. The steampunky looking ones. Some of those have pressed pigments in them as well, and on the back of the eyeshadow palettes it says not safe for eye use. So that is just something to keep in mind. But I can tell you, me personally, I have used plenty of eyeshadows that even Jeffree Star in his blood sugar palette has a few shades that he wanted to make the palette vegan, so he did not use carmine. So they are also, I'm not going to say anything about his palette because I don't remember if he said that they were not eye safe. But there are lots of palettes out there that you might not even know. I think it's definitely in the best interest of the companies to alert people to the fact that, you know, so they have the choice whether they want to use it or not. And when I watched James's video, I know that he did say it was a pressed pigment palette, which that's usually what that means. I don't know that they were, you know, completely transparent about it, but okay. So that is very, very pigmented, not patchy at all, this particular shade. So far so good. Okay, now I want to go into the shade, and both sides are fine. I actually think that the non-paint pot side went on a little bit easier than the paint pot side. I think I'm going to go into Cola, which is like the deeper blue, and I'm going to mix it with Escape Room, which is the purple. And we're just going to see how this goes. So I'm going to pack it on, like they said. And I also said in yesterday's video, and I stand by this, I do think that sometimes Morphe has inconsistencies in the pressing of their eyeshadows. I don't know when that happened, because older Morphe palettes didn't have that issue, but newer ones, for sure, I've noticed. Luckily, I've gotten mostly the good ones, but I know people who have gotten ones that were not. I think that's why you're seeing like some positive and some negative reviews. That's my opinion. Okay, so I packed, and I have no patchiness on either side. A lot of fallout. Not as much as I've gotten in the past on other palettes, but this is going to be a bold Thanksgiving look. And I do like Cola and Escape Room mixed together, because it gives you kind of like an indigo blue. And so far, I think I'm liking I don't know, maybe it's just in my head, but I think I'm liking the side where I didn't use the paint pot a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to take Brother, because I'm determined to use all the difficult shades today. And I'm just going to run it on the outer of the outer corner. I'm not going to go in too far. Okay, so when I blended that a little bit, that was a little patchy, but that's one of the shades. Actually, let me use a smaller brush. I'm going to go in with the E18 because I'm going to pack it. And I know that it's also frustrating for some people that, you know, you have to, there are so many rules to a palette, I guess. I feel like this is a palette that was created with people who are very experienced with makeup maybe in mind. I don't know why that would be a thing, but all right, I don't like that. I'm going back in with the other two shades. I think Brother is a pretty shade, but I don't like it on the outer edge. And I am bringing this palette and the Feral palette, and those are the only two palettes I'm bringing with me today when I go. Now, what do I cut my crease with? That's the big question, because I'll cut my crease on both sides with the Maybelline Master Conceal, because I want to, I packed most of my brushes. I'll use this one. This is a concealer brush from, this is the oval concealer brush from Crown Brushes. And I'm just gonna put some of the concealer on the back of my hand. As you can see, I didn't do a lot of blending, but it doesn't look bad. And we are gonna take, actually let me do that first. I'm gonna take the white eyeshadow, which is called Flashback. Hilarious. And I'm just gonna run that on the brow bone. Just around the blue shades. I like that the white and the black are bigger than the others. I feel like it did fall down. I'm just using it to blend the edges just a little bit. And I did take it up pretty far today, which is what I used to do all the time. And then, all right. Bless you. My hubby just sneezed. So then I'm going to use this, and I'm going to cut out the crease. I'll probably do my foundation and stuff off camera just so that we save a little bit of time. And I'm still in my pajamas because I was not going to wear what I'm wearing to dinner or on the trip while doing my makeup, because I tend to get powder everywhere, and it's a black sweater, so not going to risk that. Okay. I see why people go off camera and cut their crease, but I wanted you guys to be able to see like what it looks like and kind of what it does on the edges when I do this. I cut this side a little bit higher, so I'm gonna go a little bit higher on the other. Hi Sophie. Doggies are going with us. They're excited that they're going with us. Okay, so I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to go into Social Blade first because that is the shade that I was the most excited about when I saw this palette was coming out. Okay, I don't think I like that brush for it, which is fine. I'll take my little E18. I could have used the paint pot to cut the crease, but I wanted to see how it goes over other things. I like it. It's a little bit darker, but I think that was the initial brush that I used. It's just a little bit darker on the lid than it is in the pan or on the brush. I was more excited about this palette than any palette I've bought in a while, just because I love colorful palettes. I kind of wish it had the same purple in it as the while Escape Room is beautiful, the purple that was in the 35B palette was my favorite, and they discontinued that palette, and my purple is like seriously dwindling away. Alright, so now I'm blending them more, and I'm still personally not getting any patchiness, so that's good news for me. And I did buy this with my own money, just in case anyone is curious. Packing on just a little bit more of Social Blade. Okay. So now this is what we have. Now I have to decide what I want to do for my lid color. And I'm going to, of course, I think, go into the shade Hello, which I annoyingly started doing after I watched James do it. I'm always like, hello, like when I can't find something. I'm going to go in with a little bit of glitter glue because that's what I always do when I put on a shimmery eyeshadow. I'm just going to tap it on over top of that concealer. I've seen people spray their brushes, so you can do that as well. I just don't like this brush. I thought it was just for that particular eyeshadow before, but nope, I just don't like that brush for packing on. Okay, hello. This is a perfect shade because I'm like, hello, where are you? Okay, so that's pretty. It's a pretty sky blue. I expected it to be a bit more metallic, I think. I'm also going in with a big fluffy. I think I packed my flat shader brush that I would normally use. Okay. That was what fell. It was my little brush. All right, well, let's clean this one off then. I'm gonna go back into Social Blade because I feel like I lost it a little bit with the shimmery shade taking over. I'm gonna definitely do many more looks with this palette. I just had to do this look today because, well, I didn't have to do this one, I guess, but I had to do what I wanted to wear to Thanksgiving, and apparently I want to look like full glam for Thanksgiving. Okay, and then I'm going to have to go into my little thingamajiggy. I took out some of the Jaclyn Hill brushes because I wanted to bring my Wet n Wild brushes too, and my mermaid pencil brush. I'm going to go back into Playground and go around the edge. I really like the shade Playground, you guys, a lot. It's probably the prettiest turquoise I've ever worked with. Sophie is mad about something. Jeffrey probably took her toy or stepped on her. He's not huge either, but he's definitely bigger than she is, and he tends to step on her sometimes when he gets excited. So I'm going to remove this fallout. I'm going to put on my foundation, and I'm going to come back and we'll do the lower lash line and we'll talk about the palette. Okay, so we're back. So I did my foundation with my Wet n Wild Photo Focus mixed with my Fenty in the shade 120, and then I set my face with my Laura Mercier setting powder. So let's see here. Now we're going to go into, first I'm going to drop something, of course. Then we're going to go into my Jaclyn Hill brush set. And I'm going to see the James Charles palette. It has those center shades. So I'm going to go, there's a shade called Punch Me. I'm not sure why. Okay, so I'm going to go into, no. I was going to see if there was a transition shade I could use as a bronzer. There is not. So I'm going to go into my L'Oreal Lumi bronzer and just warm up my face. In the Dare to Create palette, which this is modeled after, there are lots of transition shades that I can use for contour and bronzer, which is really nice. So I'm just going to warm up my skin. I really like this bronzer, but I will say that I feel like a little worried for the fact that it is the medium shade and I am as white as paper, so I don't think the shade range is great. Alright, now we're going to go in with my favorite blush brush. Sorry, this thing like really snaps shut when it snaps shut. Okay, and then I'm going to use my, oh gosh, you guys, this is what happens when you pack up. Actually, I can use, yeah, we're going to use this like orangey shade as blush. Oh, that definitely works. Okay. I don't need to bring that huge powder brush, although yeah. I'm going to use my sponge. Just kind of make that a little more, I feel like I need to blend it out better. Okay. And then like a lot of blush, but I like it to be somewhat blended in. Okay, and then I'm going to spray my face with my Rose Toner Facial Spray. And then I'm going to go into the Sleek Cosmetics highlighter palette. Try not to drop anything. And she looks like this. And we're going to go into the pink and the champagne color together. And this is my Wet n Wild highlighter brush. That is intense. So is this bronzer. I don't like it. I'm gonna have to fix that. Let me go into some more setting powder and kind of dust it all over. Actually, I'm gonna stipple it. Just gotta fix this real quick. I think it's a little too, especially on my forehead, it's a little too orange. So I'm just toning it down with some powder real quick. Okay, that's much better. Alright, I'm bringing my peach setting powder with me. Okay, so on the lid, I'm going to go in with the Freedom Stila Glitter and Glow. It is pretty much the same shade as Hello. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that over top of it because I think it'll be really pretty. It's like the same shade but a little bit more intense. A little bit more metallic. And I've been wanting a reason to use this, so here we are. And I got this at Marshall's for $7. So that is awesome. Okay. Now I'm going to take just a little bit more of Social Blade and just make sure that those two are blended together. Because I don't want there to be harsh line between them. I know, right? Who am I? Alright, and then I'm going to go back into the two darker ones and just stamp that. I almost took the wrong color. So I don't have any patchiness personally, as you guys can see. I don't have, there goes my blush brush. Okay, so now we're going to use my little favorite mermaid brush, and I'm just going to put Playground on the lower lash line. Of course, I did just give myself some fallout. And then I'm going to go into Just Cola. I don't know why this shade is called Cola. I probably could watch his video again and he would tell me. Okay, let me get rid of the fallout and I'll be right back. Okay, and since I'm not going to go in with lashes today because I'm not going to wear lashes to Thanksgiving dinner, I'm going to go in with the next best thing, which is the Bad Gal Bang mascara. And I could definitely go in with a blue or green lip color for this, but I'm also not going to wear that to Thanksgiving dinner. Not that they would care because I'm going there with purple hair anyway, but you know. So while I'm doing this, let's talk about my first impressions. So my first impressions of the palette are, I got a well-pressed palette for the shades that I've used so far. As I said, I will be doing more looks with this palette because I want to do some in each category. I don't want to just do one look and be like, there you go, guys. So I'll do like a pink look or pink and red. I'll do a purple look. I'll do like an orange and yellow. I'll do a neutral look. This is just my first impressions. So this is Dopey from ColourPop. It's my favorite nude, which I feel like since this eye look is so crazy that it would be good to do a little bit of a more neutral lip. So this is the final look with the James Charles palette. First impressions, I absolutely love it. I'm so happy that I bought it. You can see, I'll show you, I just blew away a little bit of the fallout, but that is that it does get a little bit dusty. It was mostly the metallic shade, and I think that was because I went in with a very thick flat shader brush, but overall this palette is amazing and I cannot wait to create more looks with it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was really lengthy, but I just wanted to give you all of the information that I could in this video. So I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Oh, and please make sure you go check out Allyson's video. I cannot wait to see the look she created. So definitely go check that out. She'll be in the cards above and linked down below. And you guys know I love her. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.